With the sudden surge of ICE raids since Trump took office, let's dive into how both Republicans and Democrats view them. Alright, so a major reason that Trump won in 2024 was immigration. Americans wanted an answer to the surplus of illegal immigrants that were flooding into the country. The core requests that Americans had were to close the border and deport illegal immigrants, primarily criminals. He promised mass deportations, and mass deportations you will get. Republicans typically view ICE as a necessity to enforce these policies and keep the immigration crisis from getting worse. They see ICE as a much needed enforcement to be tough on immigration and be a deterrent to other illegals thinking about coming into the US. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem has been leading this charge and emphasized that ICE is continuing to arrest the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens, including pedophiles, violent assailants, and drug traffickers. Republicans also see Democrats as weak on immigration, with one even saying that the Biden administration focused on making it as easy as possible for illegal aliens of any and every criminal background to enter and stay in our nation. Whether you like it or not, ICE is getting people out of the country, something that many Americans voted for in 2024. So the Democrats never really found a way to stand strong on immigration, and there's been no clear unified position like the Republicans have had in past years. The recent ICE raids have ignited the conversation once again though, and many Democrats have been critical of raids for legal and moral reasons. One of the key issues that the left has had with these raids is that many ICE agents have been masked or wearing plain clothes. They view this as a fear tactic that many ICE officers use to scare communities. Technically though, ICE officers are allowed to do this, but there may be some states with different regulations than others. Another major issue Democrats have is that fear within communities has spread immensely. Families have been ripped apart, often right in front of children. Certain public areas have been infiltrated too, with a church even having tear gas seep into the building. On some occasions, excessive force has been used, and military-style raids have occurred in residential buildings. Even citizens have been unlawfully arrested at times, and many people without criminal records have been swept up.
In Chicago, in the middle of the night, federal agents stormed an apartment building. Black Hawk helicopters, flashbangs, military-style trucks, all used in the raid. Now, witnesses say everyone was detained, no matter their status. Children were zip-tied together, separated from their parents.
The Supreme Court has also made racial profiling legal in specific ICE situations, which many have criticized. A quote that I think summarizes Democratic feelings well says, "Your extreme immigration enforcement operations have already devastated families and torn at the social fabric of our communities. We are deeply disturbed by these indiscriminate arrests coupled with renewed efforts to gut due process." Alright, so if it wasn't already obvious, I'm not a super big fan of these ICE raids. That being said though, Americans by and large want illegal aliens to be deported from this country, and if that's what people want, it's certainly going to get a bit messy. A huge concern that I have for these raids as they continue is how it might actually tear the country apart. What I mean by that is that there are blue states that are refusing to comply with ICE, something that may have unintended consequences in the future. Now, whether you agree or disagree that they should comply, Republicans in the government have alluded to withholding federal funding to these states. This is where shit could get really bad. See, red and blue states have always disagreed with each other, but we're starting to see states stand up to the federal government, and then the federal government threatens states in retaliation. We've seen it with California and Governor Newsom saying they might not give the federal government California's money, which would be a huge blow since California generates more wealth than 95% of countries in the world. Trump has threatened to withhold federal funding to a bunch of states for a variety of reasons, and shit might get bad. Some people are calling for states that don't comply with ICE to be defunded, and if that starts, we are in for a rough time as retaliation may occur across the nation. I genuinely fear for the day where states and DC start that tug of war, and it only bodes poorly for the country. This topic is of course so much more complicated than what I've spoken about today, and I'm still learning, so keep the conversation going in the comments, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
And he voted for Obama